Hey guys, Kyle Cordiana here. Do a little recap for how the FLW Costa went for me on Lake Texoma. Had a really good practice there, and we had some weather conditions change. We ended up getting a really strong wind out of the south, and I laid off my practice days. The last couple practice days I didn't fish at all. I kind of figured out what I was going to do and didn't want to get led astray, so I didn't go do anything else. The wind changed, and what I think I finally figured out happened is the wind oxygenated some water, which caused a lot of my bait, which was up shallow, to go ahead and go down. After talking about it with some other anglers, I think that's what happened, which is why day one was such a struggle for me. But on day two, I was kind of stubborn, tried to make day one work again, and it didn't. 1045 didn't have a fish, had to mix it up, figured out a way to salvage a check, and finish third in Angler of the Year and make it back to the tour next year, which was really exciting for me. That was my goal. Anyway, I talked about the stuff that worked for me, and the stuff that went really well in practice. It didn't go so well in the tournament, but I was still able to catch over 15 pounds on day two and come back. The key item first thing in the morning, there's a phenomenal topwater bite all over the world during the fall transition. Any time of the year, you really need to get that early morning bite. It's very important to have a successful day on the water. I failed to do that on both days, but anyway, there was a really good bite at Lake Texoma. There was a lot of topwater bites that you could get bit on, and a lot of big fish to be caught on it. I was throwing two main baits. One is whopper plopper. Now, anything with treble hooks, guys, don't forget, get your Calcos bait sack. These things are awesome. Your line wrapped around the back of that to keep the bait from coming out even further. Put your baits in there, you open up the hook, and out pops your bait. So this is a 90 series whopper plopper, River Sea whopper plopper. I threw it, and I actually had all three on the boat. I had the 90, the 110, and the 130, depending on the waves. And there were times I was seeing big fish chase really big shad, and so I wanted to kind of replicate the bait, and so I go to a bigger bait on that. But I paired that with this Kistler. It's a Helium 3. This is a 7'3" light, medium, heavy. I've got my Ardent Apex Elite. I got a 7.3 to 1 on here. I'm throwing it on 20 or 30 pound braid. I like to throw almost all my topwaters on braid. But the light, medium, heavy part was really key. These hooks that come on the whopper plopper is another thing. You needed a tip. On anything you got treble hooks on, I like having a faster tip on the rod. I think it really helps you keep the fish buttoned up when they jump and pull and shake. But the hooks that come with the whopper plopper straight out the package, in my opinion, they're not ideal. And so I swapped out my hooks. I lose a lot of fish on those hooks. They're really stout, and I like a little stickier, kind of a wider gap hook. These are mustads, I believe. But I switched those out during practice, and I was losing a lot of fish in practice, and I quit losing fish. So I think it's really important when you guys are throwing any kind of treble hook bait, make sure you got a treble hook that you trust. The other thing I caught a lot of fish on, had a lot better hookup ratio too, and not losing fish. This is a bionic buzzbait. Right, this is in Guntersville, G-ville shad's what they call it. It's a beautiful little bait. It's actually the exact same color and skirt combination that I did so well on at Sam Rayburn a while back on a swim jig. This bait has an awesome sound to it. The blade, it's got that perfect little, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's got that perfect little squeaky to it. They love that. And so that was the other thing I paired up in the topwater. I got on a pretty good jig bite in practice. Docks played a big role, and brush piles that I found played a big role. And if you haven't heard about the new bait coming out from Jean LaRue, it's just about out there. It may already be out there at stores. I know it was shipping a week or two ago out to stores. But it's this hammer craw, right? And this is a Jean LaRue hammer craw, guys. I'm gonna get this in as close as I can. So this is just a standard watermelon colored hammer craw. And you can see it's got all this ribbed pleasure here on the bottom here, and I'm gonna regret saying that word, that didn't sound right. But anyway, it's got these little boot tails on here. This thing has a lot of action. It's tight, compact, really explosive. You got a little slot here in the middle for your hook keeper, and I'll show it here on a bait here, because these are some of the baits I caught them on. This one here is a bionic jig. This is kind of a PBJ, ultimate PBJ color. You can see I've got the hook coming right out in that little slot here, exposed, got a hook keeper on it. What's cool about this bait, you can see this one's got teeth marks on it. This caught fish on the tournament. But is how strong this thing stays on here. If I were sitting here to pull on this, these arms would break way before this thing would come down. It ain't coming down. I would catch a ton of fish on this, and the thickness and the durability of the plastic that Jean LaRue chose for this keeps this bait on your hook keeper for a really long time before it'll ever even start to tear up and slide down. And any of you guys that use trailers know the importance of that, of how annoying that is when that trailer just fails on you after one bite or one fish. This was another jig by Ionic Fishing used. This is a Tolliver craw color. Just a little more just green all the way around. It's got more of a finesse head. I like throwing that one again. These are 3/8 in weight. They're lighter. I love throwing anything 3/8. It's kind of like the ideal weight for this KLX 7-foot medium heavy. This is a Carolina, or the Texas Carolina rigworm jig rod. Throw it a lot. I like it for everything. Like I said, 3/8 ounce, a little bit lighter, finesse jigs, lighter Texas rig stuff. This is my favorite rod. I got 2 of them right here, and I got like 5 more of them hiding in the rod box. Same thing, Arden Apex Elite. That's all I really throw. Really good quality reels. I was throwing them both 17-pound fluorocarbon. I think that's Seaguar and Vizex. That's pretty much all I throw there. But man, that's really how I was catching a lot of those fish, and you can see it on the video. The other thing that I've been getting a lot of questions about, the clipping coals by Cal Coast. I kept my fish on there the entire time. People are always calling me and they're asking me, do you have fish die? Do they float? Do they jump off or whatever? I had my fish in there all day long, all year long. I had 5 fish on there, if I caught 5. Smallmouth, spotted bass, largemouth. I have not killed a fish with these things, guys. So I just want to stress to you, it's easy to push the blame somewhere else, but when you are practicing fish care management, it's very important that you keep an eye on your fish at all times, right? Each fish has their own behavior. They're going to react to that stress differently, being caught and being put in a live well, and you need to keep an eye on them. If you see a fish struggling, I don't care if you got these clipping coals on there or something else, you take it out of the fish's mouth. You relieve anything that introduces an additional stress to that fish, and you let that fish swim as free as he possibly can to help try to reduce that stress of that. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but I don't care which coal clip you got. You want to remove that from a fish that seems to be stressed out on the verge of dying. But these have not killed any of my fish, and they stay on the fish. There are times that they can pop off of a fish's mouth, and guys, that's just a really small price to pay. If a fish jumps just right and is able to dislodge this, that is a very small price to pay to not puncture a fish's mouth. It's not that hard to reach in there and put the clip back on the fish. Not a big deal if that happens. Rarely ever does it, but again, it's a small price to pay. Here's the money beam. I showed it to you guys many times. Still use it. Works flawlessly every time. That's how I call out my fish. And these are just great products by Cal Close. Dave Romanus is such an innovative guy. I love partnering with Dave. He does a really good job with all this stuff. That's it, guys. That's the recap. Don't forget, subscribe to my YouTube page. It's going to be right down here in the bottom corner of the page, either this corner or this corner. It's going to be a little red logo that says KC Cordiana. You can click on there to subscribe. I'm about to do a really cool giveaway. Cabela's has provided a really cool giveaway pack, a giant tackle box for co-anglers or boater, however you want to use them. I'm going to give away some Gene LaRue stuff, some Calco stuff. Get subscribed, and once you subscribe, make a comment on my Facebook page. Let me know you subscribed. I'll put you on the list. I'm going to do a random drawing within the next day or 2. So get subscribed, and then make a comment on Facebook that tells me you're subscribed. Otherwise, I can't put you on my list for the random draw. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm looking forward to the FLW Championship on Kentucky Lake. I'll go down there at the end of October and practice, and November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th will be the event. So that's a chance that we all get to punch a ticket for the Forest Wood Cup. So everybody's going to be swinging for the fences on that one. And thanks for watching, and I'll be back with you guys later. Thanks.